Up next, I'm really excited to have the Politics of Filipinx Diasporic Curation, moderated by CHRISTIAN Bernabe, who is the co-editor of Contemporary Asian American Art. And speaking of, the diasporic Filipinx experience, we're going to be projecting Jan and the panelists through the screen. You can have a full biography for all of the panelists in the little sheet, so I won't take too long introducing everybody, but are we ready to zoom in? Yes, we are. Great. Hi.
Hey everybody. Hey there. Welcome, or hello from Chicago. I'm really excited to be here. Am I on the projection? Am I full on? Yeah. Is that on? Yes? Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you. So in here in Chicago, my apologies for not being able to make it to San Francisco to be there with all of you today. I am really excited to do this session with the artists that I'll be introducing shortly. But just to get sort of things laid out, my name is CHRISTIAN Bernabe, as PJ said. My pronouns are he, his, him. I'm a Chicago-based Filipinx curator, writer, and academic expat. I co-edited the anthology Curation Contemporary Asian American Art with fantastic artist who's also Chicago-based, Laura Kina. And I know that the book is in the Filipino American Library, so have a look at it if you have time. So yes, I'm thrilled to be here, and through the magic of technology and the tech wizardry of the Asian American Art Museum, we are here meeting to you live from the Midwest. So we're also started for the Filipino American Artist Directory, and I'm really excited to that Jana invited me to contribute to the last directory and introduce, I think, the world to Kelvin Burzon, who I wrote about in that directory, who's joining us here. Wave, Kelvin? Or maybe I'm actually projected so you can see Kelvin waving. So, thank you all for coming today. I can't see you, so if you have comments or are excited, just clap or something so that we can all hear you. And it's good to sort of just hear the community out there, the support for this project, for the Filipino American Library, and just for Filipinx art, contemporary art in general. So I'm here with the amazing artists, and then now my friends Kelvin Burzon and Jeffrey Augustine Songco. Kelvin, say hello if you make sure you're here. Hello. And Jeffrey, say hi. Hi, everyone. We can hear you. Oh, yeah, we can. Okay. All right, so Kelvin, I'm going to introduce Kelvin first. Kelvin is an Indiana-based Filipino American artist whose work explores the intersection of sexuality, race, gender, and religion, and he received his MFA from Indiana University School of Art. Jeffrey is a multimedia artist who's now based in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and received his MFA at the San Francisco Art Institute. And he's also exhibited nationally. Throughout the time that I know him, his work has been seen all over the country, which is great. I've had the honor of getting to know each of the artists here, and then and to talk about their work in other venues, and also to write about both artists' work in various outlets. Let me just set the context of this session. What do I mean by politics of Filipinx Diasporic Queer Curation, which is a pretty long title. I use the indefinite article A in the title deliberately as a way of recognizing that the lens of queer and Filipinx diaspora offer curatorial politics and possibilities more than I can sort of cover myself here. So I'm offering one possibility or one way of thinking about queer Filipinx diasporic curation. So there's a myriad of ways to think about this, and I think the session actually will show why queer Filipinx curation matters now, in this moment in time. So let me maybe set a little bit of the cultural context and political context. Contemporary art world, I believe, right now, is in a moment of crisis. Debates about inclusivity continue to shake its foundations. Charges that museums are so white. You may have seen the hashtag #MuseumSoWhite on Twitter. Continue to get louder. Moved by some museums to the accession their blue chip artworks to fund acquisitions of new works by women or artists of color, like at the Baltimore Museum of Art, have caused a stir among art world insiders. Complaints of questionable hiring practices at museums, such as one in particular, the Brooklyn Museum of Art, haven't gone unnoticed, nor have sentiments of Trump to shut down the NEA or the NEH have gone unnoticed as well. The cultural and political climate caused by this current administration have caused galleries and institutions to confront their own positions on these issues and the ongoing ideological warfare on people of color across the board. LGBTQ communities, undocumented communities, trans and immigrant service members in the military, and the list goes on and on. So I pose this question to all of you and the artists. Do artists and art spaces have an obligation to take on political positions, or are artists and art institutions immune to the politics of representation or the politics of the now writ large? These are questions that I encourage you to think about, to all of you to think about. In my opinion, amid the current time of uncertainty today in the U.S., geopolitical instability caused by foreign policies by Trump and the extrajudicial killings in the Philippines under the Duterte regime, curatorial practice cannot remain neutral, especially in the context of Filipinx queer diasporic curation. As Filipinos, Filipinas, Filipinx, Pinoys, Pinays, Filipino Americans, however you want to identify yourself, are not immune from or untouched by the troubling cultural climate in the U.S. and certainly within the diaspora and beyond. Curation matters more than ever today. Curators like myself are important players within the art industrial complex, and I hate to sort of generalize museums like the Asian Art Museum and other museums to be part of this, but let's face it, this is part of a larger structural complex. As such, the art world has bestowed me and other curators and other scholars and other sort of art world insiders a level of cultural power as their shows and exhibitions have legitimizing effects on the art and artists that they work with. What are the ethical contours of the powers bestowed to curators and art insiders in the art world today? So, I want, for all of us to sort of leave the session thinking about the ethics of curation, the ethics of representation, and how museums and galleries and people within those spaces take what is going on today to produce projects and exhibitions that might confront some of these issues that I've just laid out earlier. So that's sort of the stage that I want to sort of set. And I know we have a limited amount of time, so I want to give some time to both Kelvin and Jeffrey to speak about their work. Before I do, I just want to say that each of the artists grapple with the intersectionality of their identities on a personal level, but also provide viewers windows into their artwork's connections to a broader queer cultural politics that reaches beyond the Filipinx queer community without relinquishing the privacy of their selves and their identities. So what I'm really saying there is their artwork actually has a broader reach beyond the communities that we embrace or that we find ourselves in. The work creates a timely and sometimes unlikely connections to other non-normative bodies, communities, spaces, and practices. We might think that Filipinx queer diasporic contemporary art as inherently coalitional, as they are also fundamentally political. We are in an ever-connected world, internet world. You know, we're all here today through the internet, thankfully, where connections and linkages and community building can't be taken for granted. So with that said, I would like to introduce Kelvin Burzon to the Asian Art Museum and everyone there. So take it away, Kelvin.
Thank you. Thanks, Jan. Thanks for always being the biggest supporter and for putting this thing on and inviting me. Thank you, PJ, and the Filipinx American Library and Asian Art Museum for everything that you're doing and for putting this event together. My name is Kelvin Burzon. I'm an artist, performer, and photographer in that order. I recently naturalized citizen of the United States. And I'm currently based in Bloomington, Indiana, an instructor of photography at Indiana University School of Art. Today I'll present to you the genesis of my ongoing body work. It is entitled Ability to Navigate. And I'm going to be focusing on school roots, self-discovery, and identification. Share the screen with you. To understand my work, it's very important to know the culture that I grew up in, which will all be very familiar to most of you. I'm really excited to be giving this talk to you in this context. I was born in Verge, Philippines on March 26, 1989, to two Catholic parents and a very religious extended family. I attended the Holy Rosary Parochial Institute, which was the parish school attached to the cathedral of the town. Mass, prayer, and worship was an integral part of education. We all knelt, stood, and sat in perfect harmony. My classmates and I experienced First Communion together. I remember doing my first confession, sitting on the lap of a parish priest in the middle of the schoolyard, and needing to confess to him all the sins I've committed thus far in my life, which back then consisted of petty fights and watching Madonna's farewell concert in its entirety. So fond memories of my youth, school, and church were all interconnected, and it's a very difficult thing for me to try to decipher between my religious, cultural, and familial memories. Religious paintings and sculptures in the church were my only exposure to art as a child. My family never went to museums or had decorative hangings on the walls, so it's kind of funny for me to be an artist right now. Our homes were adorned by images of Jesus, sculptures of San Benito, the Last Supper, and every corpse of the Madonna. Even the calendar that hung behind the door was an image of Mama Mary. I was fascinated by these artworks and would often stare at them, play with them, and worship their craftsmanship. I would mimic the processions of the statuaries that occurred during fiestas and mahal na araw by sashaying around the house with my son's video in hand. Every home had an altar. I remember a specific envelope in our house, proudly displaying multiple statuaries, crucifixes, paintings, candles, and flowers. There, my grandmother would sit for hours every morning to do her morning devotion, and I would join her. Thinking back now, I was obsessed with religion. I loved Mass for its opulence, the choreography, the songs, the costuming, the script, the drama, and the sense of community, the highly stylized rituals and its histories. I was so obsessed, in fact, that I would come home and instead of playing the ever so popular street games, I would memorize the prayers and give my friends communion at the playground. I'm going to skip forward to a couple of years ago when I started my career as an artist and considered the work that I was making prior to going to packaging. In the beginning, I was interested in exploring performative self-portraiture and representations of the human body. I wanted to attempt a detachment between the body and its identity. And I wanted to explore if it was at all possible to have human depiction that represented no specifics. Spoiler alert, I wasn't able to do it. I hated the fact that self-portraiture immediately became about very specific aspects of a person that didn't quite encompass the complexity of the human. I was a frustrated young artist. I didn't want my self-portrait to be about being Asian, about being Filipino, about being gay, or being about anything that I am. Because I was scared. And I didn't yet understand the value and the power that lies within recognizing and owning oneself. So I want to share with you a piece of work that I have not shared with many. It was a crucial first step towards making the work that I make now. So I came across a Bible at the Salvation Army, thoroughly annotated by its previous owner. A handwritten letter of dedication in the front, and a photograph of a little girl tucked in its pages. It was precious and love, something untouchable. So I forced myself to alter it. I wanted to place myself within these pages, to influence it through my art. I wanted to rededicate it, and to create a new object that will be just as precious to me as it ever was to its previous owners. I treated it as a way to unload, to confess. For days, I riddled the pages with the phrase, "Being gay is a great sin against God," which became a burden, a punishment that I had to live with. With the intent of defacing every page, I stopped because it felt wrong. The anger of the action and the phrase didn't quite fit what I was really feeling inside. I then started to insert all the photographs and sew those pages shut, and then paired those images with letters to my family. A letter to my father reads, "Ama, patawarin niyo po ako pagkat ako'y nagkasala. Magpapako po ba ang iyong pagmamahal sa akin pag nalaman nila ako'y isang bakla? Hindi ko po pinilin maging ganito. Minsan gusto kong magpanggap, pero hindi ko po makakaya mahalin ang sarili. Patawarin niyo po ako." The prompt to pursue my current research comes from a conceptual and emotional reaction to Indiana's Religious Freedom Restoration Act. It's a law that allows individuals and companies to assert that their exercise of religion has been burdened as a defense in legal proceedings. So now, bakeries are able to refuse to bake rainbow cakes for gay couples and get away with it. So much for bourgeois hospitality. I remember that day distinctly. It was on my birthday in 2015. Then Governor Mike Pence, currently the Vice President of the United States of America, signed that bill into law. Before then, I never really subscribed to politics or paid any mind to current events. But somehow, this seemed unavoidable. It directly targeted people in my community, people that I love, and it seemed like blatant discrimination hiding behind the veils of religion. I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was time for me to insert aspects of my life into my work that I never felt the urge to reveal. To do this, I had to first face who I am. Second, face the fact that everyone will know what I am. And third, take a stance. This battle that existed in the world that surrounded me happened to find itself being fought internally. Just like those early self-portraits, the idea that I must define my identity and be able to explain what I am aggravated. I'm faced with the fact that I have to define myself as both being gay and being religious. But it was difficult for me to accept this. I was either one or the other. I'm Catholic because I was raised this way and still choose to be. Being Catholic was instilled in me by society, by my parents, and by my culture. Contrary, I was born gay. There's no question about that. I've been listening to abuse since I was 3. It's a thing that neither your parents nor your surroundings is part of you. So God intended me to be this way. I was born with the stigma and guilt attached to my mind and body. And at that point, I was ever so ready to face it with the help of my art. Right from the start, it was very important to me that I did not offend either side of my identity or the groups of people that I belonged to. I didn't want to make blasphemous work or make work that criticizes queer culture. I wanted to create a space where these opposing sides could exist at the same time in harmony. But I had to realize that I was going to offend people no matter what. So I had to redefine the limitations of my work. I can't say that I don't want my work to not offend, because it will. I had to say that my work would not be disrespectful. So at this point in my process, I returned to the Living Bible, and I asked myself about the lessons that it has provided me. That confession as liberation and self-reflection, and a mend of some sort for my relationship with myself, my family, and my culture. Since then, I decided to make sacraments and reconciliations or confessions a healthy part of my art making. So I want to share with you the very first one of these confessions. I consider that 20 minutes of my life spent in confessions with the priest as reconciliation not only with God and the church, but with me and myself. The confession now exists in audio recording. Yes, I went in there recording it, which I regretted at first, but now I'm happy that I did because I often recall it as part of my studio practice. On the day that I walked into the church as the prodigal son to confess my sins, I had an intention to face God, to come out to Him. I waited, kneeling in the pews, praying, uncomfortable, yet at ease, like a stranger in a house who once lived in. So as I waited for my turn to divulge my deepest fears and insecurities, I had to kneel, and then contemplate in silence. I was alone with my thoughts. I was engulfed in a feeling of complete and relentless contemplation that I'd only been able to achieve through the church. I often try to summon this state of creative work, even to the point of constructing a prayer bench, and kneeling for an excruciating 3.5 hours waiting for a candle to completely burn down to my fingertips. I think back on how uncomfortable yet bright those moments felt. As I knelt, I reflected on the time that I started to believe that homosexuality was a sickness. I had been researching conversion camps, and the testimonies seemed too close to home to not be real. I remember how I never really measured up to the expectations of being male, or being a boy, or a man. My feminine traits were always wrong, and quite wrong. The words akla, laging, artificial, and still didn't speak French. I thought about my parents and how they would feel to have been lied to have to deal with a gay son, and the amount of criticism that they will receive from our community and loved ones. I thought about all the boys and girls like me who has had to make a decision to abandon parts of who they are just to be acceptable. And then I questioned why. I had expectations coming into the confessions room. I expected it to be brutal and to be exactly how the media and culture and people have portrayed an interaction will be between a homosexual sin and a clergyman. Forgive me, Father, for my sin. It's been a really long time since my last confession. I explained to him where I come from and my inseparable connection to the church. I explained how I fell in love with the boy and how I grew further and further away from my cultural family. I talked about the conflict I feel making the work that I do that combines my sexual identity with my Catholic upbringing, and how I use my education and my passion for art to explore and justify my sins. First, he combated my expectations of closeness and acceptance as if he knew exactly what I assumed. He said, "A man that says he loves God and hates his neighbor is a liar." Then he continued, "Imagine he loves you. Somehow you fit into his plan just the way you are." I had no idea what I needed to hear or what I would feel hearing the right things, but this was it. Then he said to me, "Figure out what he's really asking of you, and it will all come clear." Thinking back down, that phrase alone to make everything I do, what I make, and how I live my life clear. Knowing the question asked is enough to give someone purpose. What is being asked of you? Then finding the answer to that question will be the ultimate reconciliation. Then the priest asked me a question that I will never forget. Do you feel blessed? The utterance of that question has been long-eared for my constant recollection, not just in my artistic practice, but in my everyday life. Of course, I feel blessed. I feel loved. I've been blessed with life, opportunities, gifts, and all the flaws that assemble to make me who I am. I realize that in my life, I'm at the right place and doing the right things and sharing this with all of you. I felt both part of the religion and the culture that I grew up in, as well as the community of people that I have found as a gay man. I feel right and torturous self-blissful elation that it brings me, much like the feeling of kneeling on that prayer bench of confession. So to finish up my section, I'd like to end with this image. This is from a series that branched from knowing the academy called Mea Culpa, or My Fault. This branch of the larger series recognizes the idea of Catholic guilt and employs the feeling of shame, embarrassment, disgrace, and self-condemnation. This image is entitled Yosef. Most of you might recognize the phrase exclamation of disbelief, surprise, or disagreement, commonly used by your nannies and rabbis. I invited my parents to my studio to show them what I do, to show them what I make, and to tell them who I am. So I crafted this photograph object as a memento for the time that I came out to them. Thank you so much.
Up next is Jeffrey, Augustine's Songco. Take it away, Jeffrey.
Hi everyone, my name is Jeffrey. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Thank you, Kelvin. That was really special. I'm so glad I could follow that up. A lot of similarities in my work, so this is great. First, thank you to Jan and PJ and the staff at the Asian Museum for having us. This is so great, and I just moved from San Francisco to Grand Rapids like a year and a half ago, so I'm like really missing San Francisco. So I hope it's really sunny and everyone's wearing a light jacket. Okay, so I'm gonna share some slides as well. Let me get this on screen. And plug myself in case you want to see any other work. Instagram is awesome. But I'm going to kind of focus on one work, or maybe a couple works today. So anything else you want to see is probably on Songco.org or Songco Arts. Okay, so I was actually born in Livingston, New Jersey. My parents immigrated here in '73. And I have an older sister, and this is just some photographs from my childhood home. My parents still live there, and there was religious imagery everywhere. And my mom's a semi-hoarder. I always say that she's one traumatic experience away from being a full-on hoarder, so we'll see when that happens. And this is on top of our piano, and you can see all the pictures from school, family pictures. I want everyone to see the kind of two shots in the back of the kind of multiplied self. My mom kind of loves pictures and just keeps every copy and curates our home, so I kind of grew up with just like pictures everywhere. And of course that led into kind of the process that I deal with now. And so that multiplying will kind of come up in all of my work. I went to Carnegie Mellon for art school, and I was also in a fraternity. And I was closeted, and it was an interesting experience to be really, really closeted and just try to pass and blend in with my straight white male brothers. And so by the end of art school, I went and created the Society of 23. So that was in about 2005 was when I was thinking about it. And then after graduation, I moved to New York. And in 2008, I created this composite. And so what I do is multiply myself 23 times, and I play every brother of this secret brotherhood. And the brothers do random stuff, and it's kind of my compressed version of American society and American history. And so I get to do these performances and then document them with photography. It's a non-linear narrative. So as you can see here, it is already the brotherhood is one, they're all brothers, but after brotherhood was created, then I went back and did some hazing rituals and just what it took to become a brother. So it is a secret society, but through the artwork you get to see what goes on within the society walls and then what the brothers do when they're out in the world. The other thing for me is that it is a chance for me to be the I. So my exercise for people is, if you were to cast an all-American boy in a movie, the all-American guy, who would it be? You know, people would say Jake Gyllenhaal or Ryan Reynolds, and then I say, would you cast someone that looked like me? And they don't understand what that means. Like, they don't get that an Asian American man can be the lead of a movie about America. So it's a nice exercise to do, and so in the Society of 23, I get to be I. And there's some other pictures where the brothers kind of do stuff. I use Instagram often. The Society of 23 account documents the brothers doing things. This is them going to the gym. This is like Mission at 6. I miss San Francisco so much. This is them on the couch watching basketball. Right. So while I was doing research on the brotherhood back in grad school. So grad school was 2009 to 2011. So after New York, I moved to San Francisco and was at SFAI for 2 years. I started doing research on brotherhoods, and coming from a very Catholic background, I suddenly found out about Santa Semana, which is Holy Week in Spain, and there are brotherhoods that have had these robes forever. And of course, it reminded me immediately of the KKK. And through my research, there are shops in Spain that have figurines that have to have in English underneath the figurines, souvenir shops, no KKK, because it's to the Western, to the Americans, it looks too much like this, but they want to remind you that it's actually not the KKK. So I needed a ritual robe for the brotherhood. Like Kelvin was talking about the production of masks and the costuming and the choreography. I love that stuff. I also grew up doing musical theater, so that was a very important part of my life. So I knew I needed this fabulous costume, and the first costume, ritual robe I made, looked more like a graduation robe. But through this research, I was like, oh my gosh, I found it. So I ended up making the Gay Robe. So I made this at the end of grad school in 2011. And I have it with me now in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And it was just kind of groundbreaking for me to make this. And I brought it to Grand Rapids for a competition called Art Prize in 2011. And that was my first introduction to Grand Rapids, and it was a really awesome experience. And I got the work out to an audience I would have never expected it to reach. And it was presented in a church, which was kind of cool. So this is the secret ritual robe of the Brotherhood. And so the work I'm going to focus on now is Society 23's locker dressing room. This is a work that I made at the Art Prize competition this past year in October. And I love installation work. I love trying to work as big as possible. So I had the opportunity to get about a 20 by 20 room. And you can see more pictures of it at Society 23, or using the hashtag Society 23, and then the Society 23 Instagram account has all the brothers doing things, right? So, this is the main area of the Society 23's locker dressing room, which is a mashup of a collegiate sports locker room and a backstage dressing room. So it's dealing a lot of masculinity and hate and performance, but it's where the brothers go to get ready to do stuff. So what you're seeing is mesh bags that later are called ditty bags. You put your costume in this bag, and then that night it gets washed, and then you have it the next day. But it also references like the hockey jersey. And then you've got their hoods and their masks. Maybe reference helmets, and then mirrors on the back, and then there are stools underneath the bags, and then you've got their athletic logo on the carpet. And at Art Prize, people tend to touch things all the time. The audience touches things, so I had to put this white line in front of everything and let people know that they can't cross the white line. And then there's the ornament in the middle, and so that's the main area. And then you've got the lights up top and these silver beaded necklaces hanging above. And actually, I'm going to come out of this right now and try to do this cool documentation that I got from Art Prize. They had a photographer come in and document it with this photography that I think is used for real estate agents when documenting homes to put online. And so what happens here is that you come down this big hallway, and this is an abandoned building here in Grand Rapids, and the venue organizer for that is unaffiliated with Art Prize was like, hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to use this room? And I was like, yes, please, thank you. So you come down this room, this hallway, and there's a welcome letter from the Society of 23 inviting everyone into the locker dressing room. And down here you can see that I multiply myself through the brothers' signatures. And then there's a guest book and an artist statement. So once you get to the doorway, you have a couple options. You could walk in and keep going straight. You can see the sink here, or you can turn right and go into this little section here. And so this is sort of the dressing room part. And what you've got here is a vanity table with makeup, a large mirror, and photographs of the brothers. And on the mirror is lipstick, written on there with lipstick text that I will show you in a moment. And then this is the locker dressing room top wall, which is referencing Trump's locker room top. And what it is are individual sheets that I, paper that have articles of injustices that I collect. It's my kind of manic act to collect hate crimes or any kind of injustices that occur around the world. So you got the date, the location, what happened, and citing the article URL. And then you've got Faith Action Brotherhood here, which is FAB. It's the brothers kind of mantra. And then you've got the composite here. And then here's the giant kind of section. Right, so I website specifically as well. So this door was here. And I didn't want anyone going in there because it just went to a hallway. So I locked it and put brothers only. So it kind of gives that sort of anxiety that I want everyone to feel when they walk into my installations, that I personally feel all the time. So what's happening over there? Then you've got all the brothers' stations. And then just a video playing, another monitor playing a video called Flags, which is actually shot in San Francisco out of my apartment in the Mission over the Armory, which is the former King.com building. And it's a rainbow flag and an American flag flying on 2 poles. It just repeats on the front hour. And then this is the anthem, which is essentially me inside the installation wearing the gay robes, kneeling while looking at these flags, right? So all the brothers are kind of in this section looking at these flags and kneeling and singing the national anthem, which is why it's called the anthem. And then just my little, just a nice little joke here. It says, "Bros, your mother doesn't work here. Clean up your dishes." That was something I would see in theater green rooms when I was younger in musicals. So I will go back to these images. And we can look a little bit closer at nicer documentation. So here are the bags, and the stools, and the hats. So I try to inject as much current events and pop culture into my work as possible. Here's a quote, actually. I personally think it's my stroke of genius. It's a quote from President George W. Bush that the mayor of New Orleans stated during a speech when the 4th Confederate monument was removed last year, or in 2016. And it says, "A great nation does not hide its history, it faces its flaws and corrects them." I'm also referencing RuPaul's Drag Race. At the end of every episode, a queen is eliminated, and at the end she writes a message to her fellow queens on the dressing room area. And then again, here's the locker dressing room top wall. And here are actually some examples of what's on the paper. So this is actually from this past week. Someone punched a guy at a bar because he thought they were gay. And he said, "Does not let gay stuff happen," or "does not let gay stuff go on." That was in Missouri. This was in Canada. There was a swastika painted on the crosswalk. And then this is from last month. I put this in here because a gay agent is referenced. Yeah, neighborhood. A sign that read, "A butthurt Trump hater lives here. Who's the keyboard warrior now?" While the back says, "A gay Asian with AIDS who hates America and fireworks lives here." So that's kind of interesting. And then, of course, this is the reference imagery from for the anthem. So this is Colin Kaepernick, and I was living in this at that time as well. So that was really interesting. And then, obviously, it became a national event, a national issue. The Dolphins. And that's it. So I will toss it back to Jan.
Do the breaking question. I just wanted to briefly maybe connect all of these fantastic works presented by Jeffrey and Kelvin. And, as they were speaking, I thought back to what drew me to both artists initially. And, most recently I was introduced to Burzon's work through the Filipino Artist Filipino American Artist Directory, and as I was looking through the list of artists, Kelvin's work really struck me because of the religious iconography and that sort of how Catholicism is deeply rooted in being Filipino, and from my own personal experience as well, I had to confront many of those questions coming from a Filipino family, but also being very devoutly Catholic. I actually majored in religious studies because of that, and that's a little sort of, factoid about Jan. I studied religion, and it was because of my struggle to know who I was and know my place in the U.S. I had grown up abroad and had come to the U.S. not knowing really very much about American culture and race and the politics of being gay or how culture society looked at or thought about folks like me. So that sort of fascinated, and then I saw when I was working with Jeffrey years ago, right? I was struck also by that sort of religious connection, but also sort of the really bold use of the iconography that you've chosen, the robes and the rainbow flags, and these are all sort of things as try to process what is the queer identity. You can't sort of leave these sort of icons out of that process. And I was like, I got to sort of look more into what Jeffrey's work is about, much like I did with Kelvin's work. And it sort of signified to me in this sort of current moment. These works circulate in these ways that reaches people, reaches folks like me, Philippine X, genderqueer, femme-identifying folks who never get to see these types of representations, who can connect to these representations, and it really signified for me why works like by Kelvin and Jeffrey really matter in these moments where representation still matters, race still matters, right? Sexuality and gender still matter. And so I think this is sort of the challenge for curators and people working in the museum, art industrial complex, as I said before, is, how do we think about what we do as having an impact to a broader audience, or an audience who really crave to see some of these types of representations that often are hindered by institutional constraints or just the constraints of a curator and what they want to show or what they are allowed to show, right? And so this is why events like this one that we're all at, are really exciting, because we get to consider these questions more deeply and more personally. These works happen to reach me and happen to move me, but I think and I believe that when other people see these works, not just Filipino queer individuals, but other folks who have been oppressed or have been marginalized because of their race or sexuality, these works do strike a chord, and that's why I think it's important for images like these, works like these, to circulate in venues like Asian Art Museum, or small galleries for that matter, pop-up shows. So that's sort of my contextualization of why queer curation, Filipinx queer curation matters today, what it matters for me. I believe that the intellectual and cultural reach by the works that we see today were born out of necessity. We're born out of resistance, and we're born out of the sort of fundamental political these fundamental political convictions to transform viewers. And I'm just really excited to be sharing this stage with the both of you, Kelvin and Jeffrey. Thank you so much. I know we have about 15 minutes left. I want to just, I forgot, I was thinking about my intro. I didn't thank PJ or Carpio for putting this together. A late Catholic that just, oh my god, I forgot to mention PJ. So, thank you, PJ, for putting that together. I do have, a couple of questions, maybe one or two for each artist, to sort of maybe for you guys to respond to. I know we're all in the Midwest, and it's, it's not as bad as people might think. I'm in Chicago, so it's not as bad as perhaps Indiana, but Kelvin, you're obviously thriving in Indiana, and I just want to ask you, how working and living in Indiana really affected your practice, how you see the art world, and and you mentioned about how it's affected your practice. And the same goes with Jeffrey. How is moving to sort of Grand Rapids affected your practice as well?
Well, I put myself in this academic setting, and so I'm kind of in a bubble of sorts. I kind of understand what I'm doing, and I guess it's affected my practice by it's not inhibiting what I'm making, but it's kind of, I don't feel like I want to share with the close community that I'm in. And because I'm scared of the response, and I'm still, I'm scared of what people will make or do of it. Although, this, where I am right now, and kind of the tension that's happening, and everything that surrounds me really feeds into what I make. And as I talk to other queer people, I just get more and more inspiration from their stories, and we're all we have this bond because we all live in this space. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. I think we find community, we build community, right? And I think wherever we are, I think that's sort of maybe an inherent practice that we unconsciously do is we find each other, and we make these communities, these intentional communities to thrive. And I know, from your work, I see that sort of happening with the folks that you picture in your series. Jeffrey, what about you? Grand Rapids?
Grand Rapids. Yeah, it's just I think about it every day. But it's fine because it's summer now. But literally in November, when there's 30 inches of snow, I'll be doing that one. But Grand Rapids has been really great. It's not as diverse, obviously, as San Francisco, and I miss that a lot. But my boyfriend learned how to make Filipino food because I don't know how to cook, so that's really nice of him to do. But there's so many. Art prize is such a big thing here. If anyone doesn't know about it, just Google it. But it's such a big thing here that, and I'm involved with it a lot from an artist perspective. So it's just it's been a really rewarding experience for me to have space. I didn't have a studio while I was in San Francisco, so coming to Grand Rapids and paying the same rent for 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a backyard, a garage, and the basement is crazy. But yeah, I just actually yesterday had a studio visit with an associate curator from the Michigan State University World Museum, right? So that's still 2 hours away, but I feel like I'm able to connect with institutions here in the Midwest much easier than being in a larger city. But aside from that, I mean, it's just as good of a community. Artists who are passionate, so I think you'll find those pockets anywhere you go. But I've been able to work bigger, I've been able to have, more space and more time, if you will, because we're not like all trying to run off to 8 different gallery openings, this week and then next week, and then the week after that, like there's like 2 or 3. So yeah, the Grand Rapids is great. I suggest everyone come to visit. I'll be here. I'm like the one brown person walking around.
That's what I just want to give props to Jana for also sort of like creating this Midwest sort of Filipino artist community through the directory. I feel like that's a really great resource for all of us here in the Midwest to connect and to remind folks on the coast, San Francisco and in New York, that the center of the U.S. is actually an inviting place for artists, contemporary art works, so artists and art production. So props to Jana. I was also really, thinking about the reception. Like, I know, Kelvin, you said that you're a little, scared to sort of put your work out there to a larger community, or Indiana in general. But can you talk a little bit about how your work, among your communities, a bit more like even, viewers of your work have been received?
Yeah, I feel like I'm scared for no reason, because everything I've ever, or like anyone has ever said to me are good things, right? And what surprises me is when I do these things, when I share my work and talk about it, people, young, queer people would go up to me and like ask for my advice, and like, as if I'm this like outgoing, beige, queer person that but so I think that impacted my work is just something that I've never thought about, and when I focus more on that, I am sharing, right? But like thinking of the positive negativity, like negative response from people, I don't want it to go out there because this work is about me. But I think focusing on that positive effect that it has on people just like me is a good thing to focus on.
Yes, it is. I think your work needs to be seen. As I mentioned to you many times, I think your work is beautiful, and I think it does sort of connect a lot of people to what you're trying to do within your series. It's a process too, and I would encourage you to, apply to art prize or something, So, Jeffrey, how about you? How does your work been received? I know it's a little, you're working on provocative iconographies. So, especially with like KKK or, the road itself, and then you're doing stuff with the rainbow flag. How are people speaking about your work or talk to you about it?
Yeah, to piggyback on Kelvin's fear, I made the AAA Road in 2011, and I'm like, I don't know who's going to this was in the safety of my graduate studio, on 3rd Street at SFAI. It was like, how is this going to be received? So I applied to Art Prize with it, and someone took it, put it in their venue, and then knew it was going to be really controversial, so then they ended up flying me out for a panel discussion, and I thought I was just going to get garbage was going to get thrown at me or something from the audience, but during the Q&A, gay African American man was like, thank you for making a symbol that represents me, and I was like, look, this is nuts. So, that was the first kind of oh man, this is so nice. But as I continue to share the work, obviously there's still people who don't want to talk about these issues, and I was setting this stuff up when Charlottesville happened, and then Art Prize was that September, right? So it was fresh on people's, this imagery was fresh on people's minds by the time Art Prize started this past September. And so there were parents who didn't want to go in the room with their children. On the other side, there was a man who spoke about, he was really like quiet. And then he said that when he was like an older gentleman, when he was in high school, he was reminded, my installation reminded him that in high school they reserved the front row of assemblies for members of the KKK, right? So just like 60 years ago, here somewhere nearby in Grand Rapids. So I definitely feel like I'm able to connect with people for various reasons based on the fact that I'm working with this imagery that's just everywhere, I think. I mean, we're all talking about it now. There's so much in the news, and yeah, whether people want to receive it as art is one thing. So, you know, just when I use this kind of familiar things to like pop culture stuff, like taking a knee, I don't know if people see it as artistic rather than just, oh, he's talking about fingerprints. So,
Great.
Kind of left for Gavin.
We have about 5 minutes left, so I'm going to wrap up a bit. Because I know this day is full of events. And I want to thank everyone who came to the session and everyone who organized it again and the artists that I've spoken about it. I really want all of us to sort of leave today thinking about, you know, when we go to museums and how, you know, these exhibitions that we see are put together, and think about what is seen and what is not. And, you know, as I mentioned earlier in my, you know, when I was introducing the session, you know, what are the ethical contours of curation that are, you know, that curators, you know, work with to create their shows and their exhibitions. Because I think once we start to think about that, we get to the crux of the problems, right? That I also mentioned, right? The exclusionary sort of effects of the art world, and why that is, you know, so bad. So. You know, with that said, you know, again, I'd like to thank everybody. I can be reached online. You can Google me. I'm sure there's a pamphlet there or something that has my name. But if not, you can reach me at SPRAMP on every social media platform. That's @Spram. And Kelvin, do you want to plug your info?
Sure. I think it's @KBurzon on Instagram or KelvinBurzon.com.
And Jeffrey?
Songco Arts on Instagram and Songco.org.
Okay. Well, I want to hear from everybody in the hall. Thank you so much. Can you guys clap?
I will say thanks so much. Thank me.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you, Magic. Thank you for Asian Art Museum staff for making that happen, making sure that we get to meet Jan. And Jan says, make sure you grab the program. All of the artists and panelists' bios are in here. And I'm really, really happy to be able to have Jan here and really, you know, really think about art and artistic production throughout the country, and also from queer and perspectives. So we're going to go on break. Session 2 will start at 1:30 here, and you know, we'll go on until 4. So come back and yeah, keep in touch. Thank you.